and you're lying in a hospital bed, lonely and in need of comfort and compassion, but there's no one in sight. This is what a hospital experience would be like without the presence of nurses. It is not unusual for people to overlook the extensive job a nurse does to keep normal flow in a variety of settings. I would like to talk to you all today about the importance of nurses and pay tribute to the essential role they play in a hospital environment. I feel that I'm qualified to speak on this topic because through the years I have come into contact with many different nurses. I also work at a retirement home which is similar to nursing. The three main points that I will be covering in this speech are the nurse-to-patient relationship, providing comfort to the patients, and striving to make a lasting impact on their patients. All nurses are special in their own way and possess special qualities, including the want to help those in need. A strong nurse-to-patient relationship is crucial to the successful treatment of the patient. Nurse-to-patient relationships are important because they ensure the well-being of the patient. My mother was diagnosed with cancer while I was very young, and through the years she has been in and out of the hospital more than once. And one of the main goals of the nurses was to strive for a healthy relationship and gain her trust. Nurses are responsible for taking care of their patients' physical needs by managing pain and administering medications. Not only did the nurses take care of my mother's physical needs, they also took care of her emotional needs. Although it may sometimes be overlooked, emotional care is very important, and good nurses must always be willing to provide help when the patient's emotions become unstable. While my mother was in the hospital for an extended period of time, she would get lonely, and the nurses made it a point to check on her and be sure she was content. Although the relationship between the patient and the nurse are very important, a nurse also has other tasks to fulfill. One of the goals of nurses is to provide comfort to their patients. By providing the correct amount of comfort, they can gain the patient's trust and respect, which in turn makes them more credible and valuable to their patients. Many patients in hospitals are given diagnoses that may be difficult to deal with. It is not a nurse's job to ensure that their patient will make a full recovery, but they can make them most comfortable for the time they are in their care. While my sister was in the hospital, she was given news that was hard to handle and take in. But it was the support of the nurses that gave her and our family the optimistic view which gave her the strength to move forward. Comfort is not only given through one's physical needs, it may also be provided through spiritual comfort. Although a nurse may not be the same religion as their patient, they may ask the patient to pray if times are unbearable or the patient loses hope. While my mother was in the hospital, she would have moments where she thought she couldn't carry on. In one particular moment, a nurse walked in, and her, my mother, and I all prayed for God to keep her safe, and I could tell from that moment on that my mother was at peace and ready for the challenges that God would present her. Nurses strive to give their patients comfort, but it doesn't stop there. Nurses should look to make a lasting impact on their patients. While in the hospital, my mother and sister came across nurses that they will never forget, and I'm sure I will never forget. To make a lasting impact, nurses must not only reach out to the patient, they must also reach out to and form a relationship with the family. I remember a particular instance when my mother was in the hospital. She had fallen asleep, and the nurse came in and asked to go on a walk with me. And we ended up talking for a while, and she bought both of us smoothies. I can honestly say that there are nurses I will never forget because of the relationship they form with my mother and our family. Lasting impacts last forever, and they reflect positively on the nurse's credibility. Today I've spoken to you about the job a nurse does and the tremendous effort they put into their line of work. I have done this through the explanation of the nurse-to-patient relationship, the nurse's goal to provide comfort, and finally the lasting impact a nurse strives to achieve with the patient and their families. I believe that through those specific points, the patient will never feel alone, and they will only feel the comfort and compassion a nurse truly provides.
Bye, Dr. Johnson.